Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm Gene Della Sala, president of Audioholics, and today we have...
Hugo Rivera, vice president of marketing. And Gene, I'm super excited because...
Why are you so excited?
I tell you what, we have this awesome speakers over here, okay, from this company called RSL. And RSL is an interesting company. I've been looking at them for over the last year, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really family owned. The owners are super humble. I mean, if they will be a pie, they will be humble pie.
I like that. I'll take a piece of that.
I'll tell you what. Basically, it's a father and a son. The son runs the operation these days, but a lot of people don't realize that the father is really who founded the company back in the day, 70s, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And it was a really successful company back then, and then he sold it. But then when the son grew up, they reacquired the rights to the company, so they're back in business. And I think what excites me the most is that they're audioholics like us. I gotta tell them, you guys are audioholics, all right? They pay attention to detail. They test things. When they do products, they create many prototypes, and it takes them sometimes years to go over every single prototype to see which one sounds better. So to me, I mean, I'm super excited about them, and they gave us this really nice pair of speakers to talk about them and to see what we think about them.
Yeah, that's great. And one thing I do like about them, just looking at these speakers I got my engineering hat on for the moment. I like the fact that they use quality parts. They don't dumb it down and say you don't need the quality parts, you don't need the science. They actually put high quality stuff in here. And it's funny because I was talking in another video, the fabric dome versus the hard dome tweeters. I was talking about how great the ScanSpeak 9500 tweeter is, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
And a very expensive tweeter, obviously. And it was funny because after that video came out, I believe Howard emailed me and said, it's amazing that you made that observation about that tweeter, because that was our benchmark tweeter that we tried to achieve similar performance to in the tweeter that's in this speaker, because obviously this is more of a budget speaker. These are the CG4s. Mm-hmm. They retail for $500 a pair, and you're not going to put a $150 tweeter in a $500 pair of speakers. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they were benchmarking off of one of the best tweeters in the industry, the best soft dome tweeters, as soon as when I heard that, I'm like, you know what? I need a hear set. Despite the fact we have another reviewer, Theo is going to be doing a formal review of the entire RSL speaker system, I told him, I go, send me a set because I want to hear this. I want to see what's going on. I know they made some claims about their compression guide that they use inside the cabinet that supposedly reduces standing waves by changing the high pressure to low pressure zones. Some of that I was a little bit iffy on. I didn't quite follow all the science in it. But you know what? After observing this cabinet and seeing how rigid it is,
there's no resonance there.
And they're only using half-inch thick MDF, but the fact that they're using this brace inside there, which is their patent, and it's a very detailed patent if you look at the patent online. That alone, the fact that they're internally reinforcing the bracing of this cabinet with that technology and their little slotted port at the bottom, it's pretty amazing, because when I listened to the speaker, it didn't sound boxy to me. Mm-mm. It didn't sound, one-notey like you get on a lot of budget speakers. Mm-mm. There was no turbulence coming out of the port, and there's actually a reason for that too, Hugo. A lot of companies, when they make these small kind of speakers, they tend to tune them as low as they can to get the lowest possible bass extension, okay? Mm-hmm. And there's problems when you do that. When you're dealing with, like this speaker has a 4-inch woofer, when you're dealing with a small driver in a small box and you try to tune it low, you're going to compromise efficiency, and it's not going to be able to play loud. Right. The woofer's going to bottom out, or it's going to stress. These guys are only rated down to 100 hertz. They took the more conservative approach. Okay, they rate them down to 100 hertz. They don't have a ton of bass, but what they do have is they blend extremely well with their subwoofer.
Exactly.
They have a subwoofer that matches this system called the Speedwoofer 10. So between that subwoofer and these speakers, the whole system, the 2.1 system's like $1,250.
And it's free shipping.
And it's free shipping. A lot of companies, they don't tell you about the shipping, and that's a big expense. So the fact that they're giving you free shipping and a generous trial period is, speaks volumes for the faith they have in their own product.
Absolutely.
So I think we should talk a little bit about the parts inside, too.
Let's go ahead and dig deeper into this, because I think people that are looking for some budget speakers will be excited to at least take a look at these.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it has a 4-inch driver. It's a poly-coated driver. and it doesn't have a cheap Chinese stamp basket. Instead, they use a cast frame. And if you look at the frame, it's very thin, so it's not like these cheap cast frames that have a really wide openings, which basically reduces the effectiveness of what the cast basket's doing. You're basically trying to eliminate some of the standing waves in the cabinet and the back waves from the woofer.
Right.
So it's a very rigid frame. You don't hear any resonance in the driver. They got a pretty good motor structure in there. The tweeter, I said, I wouldn't say it's an equivalent to the 9500 because we compared this speaker to a pair of speakers we have with the 9500. I would say I would give it like 90%.
Yeah, that's accurate.
It's really that good. I found that it was a tad bright. There was a little bit more treble forwardness, maybe about a dB.
Not offensive though.
But it was not offensive. It didn't sound like annoying, or a lot of these tweeters when these companies make a speaker that's bright, it gets annoying. You hear the sibilants and the S's, especially with female vocals.
Yes.
And I actually found it refreshing. They recommend you put the woofer on the top and the tweeter on the bottom because it does better loading with their port. But in a near-field situation like we were listening to in my office, I preferred it the conventional way with the woofer on the bottom and the tweeter on the top, just because it got that tweeter a little bit higher up and away from my ear, because I was only sitting maybe about 3 feet away. But the thing I like is they don't lie about their specs, their sensitivity. They claim it's 88 dB. A lot of companies, we measure them, and they're like 3 or 4 dB lower than they claim. These are pretty spot on, and you're going to find when Theo publishes his review, I'm going to do some measurements, and I'm going to show you how these measure. And I can tell you right now, just by listening, that they do really well. There's very little diffraction off the cabinet, and they have a beautiful magnetic grille. It's just attention to detail here. Why don't you talk about the finish? I mean, they were telling us about
this is handmade.
Yeah,
it's hand painted.
With
it's
polyurethane. It's done several layers of polyurethane. Here's the other thing, guys. When you look at these Internet Direct speaker companies, and Hugo, you should link up that article we did on Internet Direct speaker companies. Some of these guys, their standard finish is a cheap vinyl.
Yes.
Okay, that's not the case here. I mean, they're already giving you a really premium gloss finish here. Some of these companies charge a 30 or 40% premium just to get a good finish, and they don't factor that into the price.
No.
So when you think about it, it's $500 sounds a little steep for a 4-inch two-way, but it's really not when you look at the attention to detail, the quality of the components that's in there, and then the company that's behind it.
Exactly. I mean, and like I said, they're audioholics like us. So I mean, they're just passionate about sound. They test things to death. I mean, Gene, like again, I said this at the beginning of the video. When they're creating a new product, they create various prototypes and they test this stuff to death to figure out which one is the best prototype, which one sounds the best, You could see
that. You could see that they spent time voicing the speaker. I mean, you could do so much with just doing measurements, but you got to actually listen to a speaker in a room to do the final voicing. I could tell as soon as I fired these up, I was like, you know what? This is a company that cares about sound.
Absolutely. Yeah. Products are great. I mean, honestly, for somebody that's looking for some speakers at the $500 level, this is a choice in my opinion. Yeah,
and if you're looking for a compact system and you want to have the same speakers all around, I would recommend 3 of these in the front and then 2 for the rears, and then get their Speedwoofer 10 or 2 of them if you can. Get dual subs is always a better choice. But you could literally put together a very compact system that's much better quality than the typical cube system that you get in the department stores for about the same price.
Absolutely.
And you're getting a real subwoofer. You're not getting these little bandpass enclosures that woof at about 50 hertz to 100 hertz.
Absolutely. Yeah. The other thing, too, that needs to be mentioned is the great customer service. When you actually call the phone, you actually get somebody to help you. So
that's a rarity these days.
Which you and I both know from personal experience that getting somebody on the other line, it's a tough proposition, it seems like.
It really is. And I have to say, every time I've called them, I've been able to get them on the phone. Or actually, you've been calling them more than me. I've called them once or twice
They're
today.
a pleasure to deal with.
Yeah. So overall, we're very impressed. Look for our coverage on Audioholics, and you're going to see a lot more stuff from us on their speakers and their products.
Absolutely. So I think on that note, Gene, I'll invite people to just subscribe to our channel and to comment below, let us know what they think, and if they like this video, to click thumbs up and share with their friends, And until next time, keep listening.